If you are currently, right now, going through identity loss, feeling like everything's chaotic, confusing, unsure, perhaps something is calling upon you to kill the little boy inside of you, to move away from the child psychology to the man or woman psychology. And today I want to sort of share a little bit what that means and how you can interpret this moment for yourself. If you also want to be a part of my community, you can go ahead and click the button below, send you over to my website. And if you sign up to my monthly newsletter, I will send you my 3-step identity rebuilding guide as a thank you for being a part of it. And the monthly newsletters are all about my rule of 3 method to rebuild purpose back into your life, rediscover who you truly are, and then move towards an ego soul integrated lifestyle. You see, currently in the modern world, when we look around, how many people have you come across who are adults in body, but when you get to know them and you get to understand the way they act, the way they think, their values, you think to yourself, I think this is a boy, or this is just a little girl who's just grown. And you always wonder, well, how does that happen? Why does that happen to certain people? And we never often think it happens to us. We used to, in the primitive era, the primitive man, we used to have a rite of passage, a transitional period between boy and man, girl to woman. That ritual could have been perhaps venturing off into the woods, staying alone for 24 hours, whether it be going through some sort of excruciating pain, physical pain. They had their sort of methods. But the bottom line is, they had their great sage, their wise elder, navigate, control, and direct this rite of passage so that the boy that exists can die in order for the adult to emerge. Now this is one thing really important, that does not mean the boy within you is fully gone. It's just that now the boy is going to be surrounded by the adult, by the man's psychology, by the woman's psychology. Because, we have this misinterpretation of the inner child as always being divine and benevolent and good. And it can be those things. But it can also be the shadows. It can also be the bully, the mischievous one, the manipulator. It can still be those things. And we can still have those things within us. And as we grow in flesh, we often don't grow in our psychology. We often don't grow in the way we think, in the way we perceive. If we haven't dealt with our challenges, with our complexes, they don't just go away. And they just inhabit into our adult world. And I'm saying this from a place of experience. I had the death of my boy psychology not too long ago. Feels a long time ago now, but it was a moment of, you can also call it ego death. But it was a story that I've been living by. This sort of childlike state that expects things to come to them. That is essentially the foundation of the shadows, the shadow complexes of the child archetypes. The shadow fundamentally all across the board has this sort of interpretation and belief that things should just flow upstream to them. And when they don't, they get very frustrated, angry, resentful, and bitter. Doesn't meet our expectations. And I was living my life a certain way until one day, that story, that way of thinking, the way of seeing and experiencing the world, the internal soul started to say, I think enough is enough. I hit a boiling point and couldn't sustain anymore. The brain was malfunctioning. And so there had to be a ritual process. Now, the ritual process is a difficult one to do, just to make it up. You have to sort of have somebody around you who can guide you through that process. And sort of making it symbolic and important not something trivial. Oftentimes you look at martial arts, you look at, for example, jiu-jitsu, you'll have belt ceremonies where once someone is promoted, they'll have a particular ritual to go through once they go from a particular belt to the next belt. And I don't like this process, but a lot of places will do a belt whipping. Well, they'll whip, for those of you that train jiu-jitsu, you'll know, they'll whip their partners in the back as they're going down this tunnel. They call it Tunnel of Love. I really don't. I don't know who calls it that, but I know a couple places they call Tunnel of Love. I don't like that name at all. But maybe there's a different name that other people call it. But you get whipped as you're going down by all your teammates, and it's sort of this rite of passage, this transition period from your lower rank to the upper rank. The lower rank dies, but you do not forget, you do not abandon, suppress, disassociate. You integrate it. You bring in what is important and you let go of the rest, and you now mature your psychology moving forward. You're now stepping into a new level, a new era of your life. And I feel that we are missing that in the grand scale. And perhaps that's what you've been missing. A transition period from boy to man, from girl to woman. And so maybe this moment right now for you, this shakiness, this identity loss, this confusion, perhaps it's this calling to integrate, to let go of old stories, to integrate the parts of you that have made you who you are today, and then to reinterpret and reimagine your life moving forward now. And making it important, making it sacred, not trivializing everything. We've gone to a point where everything is made to be funny and silly. Which, again, if you really look at the broader scale, there is a child element to that, making everything a joke, making everything silly, making everything funny. You have to bring in some level of sacred elements into your life, some ritual, something important. And again, it doesn't mean you cast out the silly, of course not. It's a part of you, it's something great. It's a way you play and experience. But know when things are serious and know when things are monumental for your life. And that way we can move forward and really emerge out of this a different wholeness to you. And so there may be times you'll have to confront your shadow. And that is the most difficult part of this entire journey. You have to face inward. And with curiosity, adventure, compassion, love, and a firm hand, you face inward and you ask, what is it that you want? What is it that you need from me in order for us to move on, to transition? I'm not leaving you behind. I'm bringing you along with me, but we need to have a different mode of thinking, a different way of viewing the world. This takes time. You're going to have a lot of emotional spikes. You're going to have days you're not going to want to do it. You may even think it's stupid. It's all part of the process. Stay the course. You stay the course, and then at some point, it's just going to click. And when that moment clicks, you're going to feel this almost spontaneous burst of energy. Instant burst of energy. And I've had clients tell me the same thing. Once they start to get this alignment, even moving in the direction of it, they feel this all of a sudden burst of power. They feel slightly more ignited than they were before. And that energy was from within. It wasn't a stimulus. It was from within. So if this resonated with you, I would love for you guys to join my community. If you click that button below, to send you over to my website, join my monthly newsletter, and I'll send you my 3-step identity rebuilding guide as my thank you to you. This is a community that I've wished I had during my time of identity loss and confusion and chaos. So this brings me such great pleasure, and I hope that it serves you in the best way possible. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next video.